Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Talks. They can see it, folks. They see you out there, trying hard to grab just a glimpse of their attention. How happy you become with just a reply. How you light up when they finally respond after hours, maybe even days. It's obvious, isn't it? You're handing them your power, one desperate attempt at connection after another. But here's the brutal truth. As long as you're chasing, they won't stop running. But what if, instead of chasing, you disappear? What if, instead of being predictable and always available, you step back, reclaim your space, and let them feel the absence of you? That's when everything shifts. That's when they start realizing just how much they miss you, and it hits them in ways they never saw coming. See, people don't value things they think they'll never lose. They assume you'll always be there, always the first to call, text, or show up when they need you. And as long as you keep showing up, they'll never understand your true worth. But once you pull back, once you go silent, that's when they begin to feel the loss creeping in. That's when they realize they miss you. It won't happen right away. At first, they might enjoy the space, convinced you'll come running back. But as days go by, the void left by your absence grows larger. They start noticing the little things, how good it felt to talk to you, how much brighter their days were when you were around. Suddenly, they miss your messages, your presence, your energy, and just like that, the tables turn. For someone new, this realization feels like a punch to the gut. They thought they had all the time in the world, that you'd keep trying forever. But now they're left with nothing but questions. Where did you go? Why did you stop trying? And that curiosity becomes the first sign they miss you more than they'd ever admit. In an old relationship, the impact is even deeper. They took your effort for granted, grew too comfortable with the idea that you'd always be there. Now your silence forces them to reflect on everything they ignored, every time they pushed you away. And that's when it hits them. They miss the very thing they thought they didn't need. Think about it like this. Imagine you're a rare book, something unique and precious. As long as you're sitting on the shelf, always available to be picked up, they never really appreciate your value. But the moment you're taken off that shelf and out of sight, they can't stop thinking about how they should have spent more time reading your pages. Your absence becomes a mystery they can't resist solving, a gap in their life they can't ignore. Now let's make one thing clear. This isn't about playing games. This isn't about manipulating someone into missing you. It's about reclaiming your power by stepping back and letting them feel the consequences of their actions or their lack of action. When you stop giving, stop chasing, stop offering yourself up so freely, they begin to realize just how much they've lost. That's when the regret kicks in. Slowly but surely, it begins to eat away at them. They start remembering all the times you were there for them, all the small gestures of care and attention you gave. They recall how your presence made their life easier, brighter, and suddenly it hits them. They miss you. And that realization, it's a heavy one. It comes with a sharp sting of regret, because now they're no longer sure they can get you back. But here's where you need to stay grounded. Don't break the silence. Don't rush back in just because they're starting to feel your absence. Let them sit with that feeling. Let them stew in the realization that you were never something they could take for granted. Let them wrestle with the fact that your value was only fully understood once you were gone. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When they start thinking about you, when they begin missing you, their thoughts become consumed with your absence. They can't help it. Your silence becomes louder than any words ever could, and in that silence, they begin to feel the weight of what they've lost. Now, Here's the challenge. Can you hold your ground? Can you stay strong and resist the temptation to run back before they fully realize your worth? Because the moment they start to miss you is the moment you've already won. The power is now in your hands, and whether they come crawling back is entirely up to them. But accepting them back, that's your call. You're in control now. And that's exactly what this video is about. I'll walk you through how to stay grounded, how to resist the pull to respond too soon, and exactly how to react when they start showing up again. Because here's the truth. It looks simple, but it's anything but. It takes strength, patience, and the right mindset. But if you stick with me, I'll show you how to navigate it all. So go ahead, hit the like button under this video. It will really push this message to reach more people. People like you who need to reclaim their power. And the best thing you can do is help others find the strength to stop waiting and take control of their worth. Remember, this journey isn't just yours. Many people need to hear this, so spread the message to all. And now, let's start by affirming this challenge together. Say it with me. I am done waiting, and don't just stop here. The real power lies in declaring it. Throw it out into the comments. Let the world know. Drop it. I am done waiting. And let them find out the hard way that the days of waiting for their attention are over. And more importantly, let yourself find out that you never needed to wait in the first place. This is your moment to reclaim your worth. So stand tall, make that declaration, and let's dive in. Step 1. The quiet fade. Listen carefully. This first move isn't about going loud or making some dramatic exit. No, the quiet fade is an art. It's subtle, unnoticeable at first, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. They won't even see it coming. No confrontation, no grand speeches, just a slow, deliberate withdrawal from their world. You're stepping back quietly, like a shadow slipping out of the room, and before they even realize what's happening, you're gone. At the start, they'll keep living their life as if nothing has changed. They'll think, they'll text me again. They always come back. This is exactly why you need to stay calm and grounded. The hardest part is right here in the beginning, when your instinct will scream to reach out, to make sure they still care. But that's where most people trip up. Don't break the silence. This isn't about getting a quick reaction. It's about setting the stage for something far more impactful. Think of it like a whisper in a crowded room. At first, no one notices. But as the noise dies down, that whisper grows louder and louder until it's the only thing they can focus on. Your quiet withdrawal works exactly the same way. It sneaks up on them. The first day without your message feels like nothing. But as days go by, the silence starts gnawing at them, and that's when the shift begins. At first, they'll brush it off, feeling no urgency. You always text first anyway, right? They assume it's just a little space. Maybe you got busy, maybe you're just playing hard to get. But here's the trick. The more time passes, the harder it becomes for them to ignore the void you left. They'll scroll through their phone, realize your name hasn't popped up in days, and a little thought creeps in. Why haven't they reached out? This part will test you. You'll feel restless, tempted to send that, "Hey, just checking in" text. You might even second-guess yourself thinking, what if they forget about me? But here's where you flip the switch. You're not disappearing to manipulate them. You're doing it to reclaim yourself. Every time the anxiety kicks in, remind yourself, I don't chase, I attract. Stop trying to manage how they feel. Let them feel the silence. It's not your job to fill the space for them anymore. Days go by, and something shifts. Slowly but surely, they realize your absence isn't temporary. It's intentional. This isn't just a break. You're fading out, and it stings more than they expected. They'll check their phone, hoping for a message that doesn't come. They'll glance at your social media, wondering if you've moved on without them, and that's when the doubt sets in. They'll try little tricks to see if you're still hooked, liking your posts, sending a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" text. But here's the golden rule: don't give in too soon. A quick reply gives them what they want, confirmation that they still have a grip on you. Instead, let them sit in the discomfort. They need to feel the full weight of your absence. The quiet fade isn't about manipulating them. It's about showing them, without words, that your presence is not a guarantee. You are not a backup plan, and you don't owe them endless access to your energy. Every day you stay silent, every time you resist the urge to reach out, you're teaching them a lesson they'll never forget. You don't stay where you aren't valued. Eventually, the questions will overwhelm them. They'll start to wonder if you've moved on, if you've found someone else, or if you've simply outgrown them. And when the curiosity becomes unbearable, that's when they'll reach out. But this time, the power is in your hands. Will you respond? That's entirely up to you. But know this: by the time they come looking for you, they'll realize that your silence was the loudest message of all. You're not waiting in the wings anymore. You've already moved forward. Whenever the temptation creeps in, remind yourself, I attract, I don't chase. Say it, write it, drop it in the comments. I attract, I don't chase. Let it be your anthem as you let the quiet fade work its magic. Because trust me, soon enough, they'll feel the emptiness, and when they do, it'll hit them harder than you ever could with words. And folks, this is just the first step. We're just getting started. You can't move the needle with one step alone. There's more to this journey. So kill those thoughts of clicking away. Accept the challenge to transform your entire life. You are becoming someone worth chasing, and they will notice. Now, to let me know that you're standing strong with me in this transformation, subscribe to the channel and join me on this journey of transformation. Let me see that you've accepted this challenge to stay with me until the end, because we're only just beginning. Step 2. Reinvest in yourself. So folks, the second most important step in this journey is reinvesting in yourself. The life of someone waiting around for attention? It's over. Your energy, time, and effort belong to you now. And this isn't just about keeping yourself busy. It's about becoming the version of yourself you've always wanted to be. Because here's the thing. When you pour all your energy into someone else, you drain yourself dry. But when you reinvest that energy back into your own life, that's when everything shifts. And you have to do this. Stick with me today as we dive deep into this. This step is crucial because every ounce of energy you spent worrying about them, chasing them, or hoping for their attention needs to be redirected into you. You're building a life so good that they can't help but notice your glow. And trust me, they will notice. People can sense when you're no longer waiting, no longer chasing, and no longer living for their approval. It shifts the entire dynamic. Reinvesting in yourself isn't just about keeping busy to pass the time. It's about being intentional, choosing activities, routines, and habits that rebuild your confidence and help you grow. Maybe it's hitting the gym and taking care of your body, learning a new skill that excites you, or focusing on your career or personal projects. Whatever it is, it's something that makes you feel empowered, independent, and strong. This is about becoming your own biggest supporter. Here's the magic. When you focus on yourself, everything changes. They'll sense the shift before they even see it. You stop texting first. You stop being available at every turn, and suddenly you're out of reach. This makes them realize they no longer have a claim on your time or energy. And that realization? It hits like a punch to the gut. This step isn't easy. It takes discipline. The temptation to check on them, to post something subtle hoping they'll notice, or to look for signs that they miss you will be strong. But you must stay grounded. The power lies in staying focused on your own growth, regardless of what they do. Every time you feel tempted to reach out, remind yourself, I build for me. Say it, write it, drop it in the comments. I build for me. When you reinvest in yourself, something magical happens. Your confidence skyrockets. You stop caring whether or not they notice because you notice yourself. You start seeing the changes, the growth, the new version of you that they didn't have the foresight to appreciate before. And trust me, when they finally come back around, they'll be facing a very different version of you. Step 3. Control your digital presence. So folks, this step is probably the most crucial move you have to make. We live in a fast-paced digital world where attention spans are short and everyone is glued to their screens. Social media gives people constant access to your life, your thoughts, and your every move, and that's exactly why this step is so powerful. If you want them to truly miss you, you need to control your digital presence. You have to make sure that you don't post anything that reveals too much. Maybe you're on Facebook, Instagram, or posting that daily WhatsApp status. Whatever it is, you need to cut it off or keep it minimal. And hey, stick with me and finish this video before you make your next move, because if you get this wrong, you'll miss your chance to make the impact. When you disappear from someone's life, the first thing they do is check your social media. They want to see what you're up to, who you're with, and if you're missing them as much as they miss you. But here's the secret. You control the narrative by controlling what they see, or better yet, what they don't see. If you continue posting your every thought and move, they won't feel the shift in your absence. They'll scroll through your posts, stories, and updates, thinking they're still the same. Nothing's changed, and that's exactly what you don't want. You want them to feel unsettled, confused, and curious. You want them to wonder why you've gone silent, why your life has suddenly become a mystery. This creates tension, and tension is the root of longing. Here's what you need to do. Stop posting selfies, inspirational quotes, or updates about your day. Remove the easy access to your life. When they check your social media and see nothing, no updates, no new posts, it sends a loud message. You've stepped out of their orbit, and they have no clue what's happening in your world. That's when the fear starts to creep in. What are they doing? Why are they so quiet? Have they moved on? The silence will drive them mad. Now, I'm not saying you have to disappear completely. In fact, that might seem too obvious. Instead, post strategically. Drop subtle hints. A photo with friends, a picture of a beautiful view, or a vague caption like, "On to new things." This sparks curiosity without revealing too much. It's like leaving breadcrumbs, just enough to keep them hooked, but never enough for them to fully piece together what's going on. The less they know, the more they'll think about you. When you control your digital presence, you shift the power dynamic. Instead of giving them the satisfaction of knowing you're still lingering, you make them work for information, and trust me, they will work for it. They'll start checking your stories daily, scrolling through old posts, and even asking mutual friends about you, anything to get a glimpse into your life. The key here is subtlety. Don't block them, unfollow them, or go on a dramatic social media cleanse. That's too obvious. Instead, simply reduce your presence. Become a ghost, but a fascinating one. You want them to wonder, why aren't they posting? What's happening? This creates mental friction, and that friction leads to emotional investment. And let's talk about something important. The urge to overshare. We live in a world where sharing every moment feels normal, but if you want them to miss you, you need to resist that urge. When they don't know what you're doing or how you're feeling, their mind will fill in the blanks, and 9 times out of 10, they'll assume the worst. What if they've moved on? What if they're happier without me? This uncertainty is where your power lies. When they see nothing new from you, it sends a message. You're not sitting around waiting for them. You've moved forward, and you're living your life without the need for validation. That silence is powerful. It speaks louder than any caption or status update ever could. And when they start feeling the absence, they'll begin to miss not just your presence, but also the access they once had to your world. Remember, this isn't about playing mind games. It's about self-discipline and reclaiming control over your life. Social media is a tool, but if you use it wrong, it gives others control over your emotions. Take back that control. Whenever the urge to post or overshare creeps in, remind yourself, I move in silence. This is your new mantra. Write it in the comments. Declare it. I move in silence. Let it anchor you whenever the temptation to reveal too much comes up, because the less they see, the more they'll wonder, and the more they wonder, the more they'll miss you. It's human nature to crave what's out of reach, and now you are the mystery they can't solve. Control your digital presence. Move quietly and let them feel the weight of not knowing. Soon enough, they'll start craving access to you, and by then, the power will be yours. Step 4. Use subtle social signals. Now that you've started to reinvest in yourself, it's time to use subtle social signals to take things up a notch. This isn't about oversharing or trying to provoke a reaction. It's about planting just enough doubt and curiosity in their mind to make them wonder what's going on with you. The key here is to be strategic and subtle. The less they know, the more they'll obsess. Here's the thing. People are naturally drawn to mystery. If you disappear completely from social media, they might think you've moved on, but they won't have any hooks to keep thinking about you. On the other hand, if you flood your feed with posts, it's too easy for them to figure out what you're up to. That's why the sweet spot lies in teasing just enough to get them curious without giving away your every move. You don't need to post daily updates or selfies screaming, "Look at me." Instead, drop hints. A picture of you with friends, a scenic location, or a vague quote like, "Some chapters are better closed." These little breadcrumbs are powerful. They create questions in their mind. Where are they? Who are they with? Have they moved on? And that's exactly what you want, to make them wonder. When they see these subtle signals, they'll start to feel the shift. They thought they had you all figured out, but now you're unpredictable. They'll find themselves scrolling through your posts, trying to read between the lines. They'll notice that your energy is no longer directed at them, and it will bother them more than they care to admit. But here's the thing. You can't be obvious. If your posts look too staged or desperate, they'll see right through it. That's why subtlety is key. A simple post of you smiling, living your life, without tagging anyone or offering too many details, is far, far more effective than an obvious attempt to make them jealous. You're not showing off. You're letting them see that you're thriving without them. This creates a sense of inaccessibility. They can see glimpses of your life, but never the full picture, and that partial access drives them crazy. It makes them feel like they've lost the inside track to your world. Suddenly, they're the ones chasing, trying to figure out what's changed and whether they still have a place in your life. Whenever you feel tempted to post just to get their attention, remind yourself, I move with purpose. You're not posting for them. You're posting to reflect your own growth. Let your social signals work quietly in the background while you focus on living your best life. Go ahead, write it in the comments. I move with purpose. Let that mantra guide your every action. Keep your posts subtle, strategic, and full of mystery, because the less they know, the more they'll wonder, and that's when they'll start missing you the most. Step 5. Master the art of delayed responses. This step, it's a game changer. If you want to flip the dynamic and make them miss you, mastering the art of delayed responses is essential. You've got to stop being instantly available, because the more accessible you are, the less they value your time. We've all been there, waiting anxiously for a reply, refreshing our phone every 5 minutes. But now it's time to make them the ones waiting. Here's the truth. When you delay your responses, you shift the power dynamic. They start wondering what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're not responding right away. It introduces uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds interest. People naturally crave what's out of reach, and when your responses become unpredictable, they'll become hyper-focused on getting your attention. Imagine this. They send you a message expecting the usual instant reply, but this time, nothing. An hour passes, then 3, maybe even a full day. That small gap of silence plants a seed of doubt in their mind. Did I say something wrong? Are they ignoring me? Have they moved on? And before they know it, they're obsessively checking their phone, waiting for a response that doesn't come when they expect it. Delayed responses make them work harder for your attention. When you finally respond, calm, cool, and unbothered, it sends a powerful message. You are in control of your time. They're not your priority, and they have to earn their place in your life. That subtle shift makes them appreciate every word you send, knowing they're not entitled to your immediate attention. But here's the trick. When you do respond, keep it light and neutral. No apologies, no long explanations, just casual, simple replies that show you're not pressed. Something like, "Oh, I was busy, what's up?" This reinforces the idea that your life doesn't revolve around them, and that's exactly what makes you magnetic. You'll likely feel tempted to reply right away, especially when their message feels important, but don't give in. This is where self-discipline comes in. The goal isn't to be rude, it's to communicate through your actions that your time is valuable. Your availability is a gift, not a given. Mastering the art of delayed responses isn't just about creating space between messages. It's about retraining them to understand that you have a life outside of them. The longer you maintain this pattern, the more they'll crave the connection they once took for granted. They'll start thinking twice before they take you lightly, knowing that your attention is not something they can demand whenever they want. Whenever you feel tempted to reply instantly, remind yourself, I am in control. Drop it in the comments, I am in control. This is your reminder that your time belongs to you, and no one gets access to it without earning it. Keep this practice consistent. The more you master delayed responses, the more they'll realize that getting your attention is a privilege, not a right. And that's when they start to miss you. Not just your messages, but the version of you they once had easy access to. Step 6. Embrace unpredictability. If you want them to miss you in ways that stick, you need to become unpredictable. Predictability is boring, and boredom is the enemy of attraction. When someone can predict your every move, they stop wondering about you, and without curiosity, they'll never truly miss your presence. But when you embrace unpredictability, you break the patterns they've grown used to, and suddenly they're left guessing, wondering, and craving the connection they can no longer predict. Here's the truth. Human nature craves novelty and surprise. If they know you'll always be available, or if they can read your every move like a book, you lose your intrigue. But when your actions become unpredictable, they have to start working harder to figure you out. Are they really gone? Did I lose them? What's changed? These thoughts will start to fill their mind, creating an emotional tension they can't shake. This isn't about being erratic or playing games. It's about disrupting their expectations. If you've always been the one to text first, stop. If you always say yes to plans, cancel a few without explanation. If you've been posting daily on social media, suddenly go silent for a few days, and then return with a vague, intriguing post that says, "Big things coming." The goal is to keep them off balance, making them realize that they no longer have a predictable grip on you. Unpredictability works because it disrupts the patterns they rely on. Relationships, whether romantic or platonic, often settle into routines. Routines are comfortable, yes, but they also breed complacency. By throwing in a few twists and turns, you create an environment where they can no longer take you for granted. And here's the kicker. They won't even realize what's happening until it's too late. Imagine this. They message you expecting the usual immediate response, but this time, you don't reply for hours, or maybe even a day. And when you finally do, it's light and casual, with no hint of frustration. "Oh hey, just saw this. How's everything?" Suddenly, they're left wondering why you didn't respond the way they expected. Their mind starts spinning. Are they seeing someone else? Did I do something wrong? That small disruption creates a ripple effect, and the more you embrace unpredictability, the more they feel off balance. This also applies to plans and commitments. Say you've always been available for their last-minute invites. The next time they reach out, don't be so quick to say yes. Cancel, reschedule, or simply say you're busy without offering any explanation. This creates a new dynamic where they realize they can no longer rely on your constant availability. And here's where the magic happens. The moment they feel they've lost their predictable access to you is the moment they start valuing your presence more. But here's the challenge. Embracing unpredictability requires confidence and patience. You have to be willing to sit with the discomfort of pulling away from old patterns. It might feel strange at first, and there will be moments when you doubt yourself, thinking, what if they get upset? What if they walk away? But that's just fear talking. The truth is, unpredictability creates curiosity, and curiosity draws people in. Every time they think they've figured you out, throw in a curveball. This keeps you in control of the dynamic and forces them to work harder for your attention. And the more effort they have to put in, the more emotionally invested they become. This investment makes them realize just how much they miss the connection they once had with you. When you become unpredictable, you also show them that your life doesn't revolve around them. You move on your own terms, not theirs. This creates a sense of intrigue. They'll wonder who or what is occupying your time and energy. And that uncertainty? It's intoxicating. It makes them want to chase you, to figure out what's going on behind the scenes, and to regain the control they thought they had. The key to unpredictability is balance. Don't disappear completely, just enough to create mystery. Don't cancel every plan, just enough to keep them guessing. You want them to feel like they're still in the game, but they're no longer sure what the rules are. That's when they'll start missing you, because now they can't predict your next move. Whenever doubt creeps in, remind yourself, I am the wild card. Drop it in the comments. I am the wild card. This is your new mantra. Let it guide your actions and keep you grounded. Whenever you feel tempted to fall back into old predictable patterns, embrace unpredictability, and you'll see how powerful it can be. They'll start watching your every move, waiting for clues, trying to figure out where they stand with you. But the truth is, they'll never know for sure, and that's what makes them miss you the most. Step 7. Hold the line. No early returns. So folks, this is it. The final and most difficult step. Hold the line. This step will test everything you've built so far. You've mastered the quiet fade, controlled your digital presence, reinvested in yourself, used subtle signals, delayed responses, and embraced unpredictability. But now comes the real challenge, not giving in too soon. They're going to notice the shift. They'll feel the absence you've created, and eventually they'll reach out. They might test the waters with a friendly text, or try to reel you back in with memories or sweet words. It's at this exact moment that most people stumble, falling back into old habits, responding too quickly or giving too much too soon. Don't be that person. You have to hold the line. The moment they reach out is not the moment to drop your guard. This is where your patience will be tested the most. You'll feel tempted to respond right away, thinking, finally, they noticed me again. Maybe things will change now. But let me tell you this. If you return too early, you'll lose everything you've gained. The dynamic will shift right back to where it was before, with you chasing and them pulling away. Holding the line means resisting the urge to make things easy for them. It means letting them feel the weight of your absence just a little longer, even after they've made contact. Because when they finally reach out, it's not out of sudden enlightenment. It's curiosity, fear, or even habit. They need to work harder to regain your attention, and the only way they'll value you the way they should is if they really realize that you're no longer within easy reach. This is where delayed gratification comes into play. The longer you hold the line, the more they will reflect on what they lost. Your silence is not just a void, it's a message. You are not easily won back. They need to understand that you won't come running just because they decided to show up. You're not playing hard to get. You've become hard to get. Imagine it like this. If someone left you waiting in the cold and after a few minutes opened the door slightly, would you be grateful, or would you feel like you were right to expect them to give in quickly? Now imagine if that door stayed shut, leaving you to wonder if you'll ever be welcomed back inside. That's the effect you're creating by holding the line. It makes them question everything they assumed about you, and trust me, that uncertainty will make them want you more than any words ever could. When you resist the urge to reply too soon, you create space for them to feel the full impact of their actions, or lack thereof. They'll begin to wonder if they've truly lost you. That fear of losing access to you will grow stronger with every passing day, and it will force them to confront their feelings. Are they reaching out of boredom, or do they genuinely miss you? By holding the line, you ensure that they have to face those emotions before you even consider opening the door. This is also where your reinvestment in yourself comes in. You're not just sitting by the phone, waiting for their message. You're out there living your life. Holding the line becomes easier when you're genuinely focused on your own growth. When you realize that their attention is no longer your priority, it gives you the strength to stay firm. Here's a hard truth you need to embrace. Not everyone will come crawling back. Some people won't have the courage to face what they lost, and others may be too stubborn to admit they made a mistake. But here's the thing. You're not holding the line to guarantee their return. You're holding the line to protect your value. If they don't come back, it's their loss, not yours. You've grown beyond the need for their validation, and that's the real win. If they make the effort and reach out again, and they will, this is where you need to be smart. Keep it light, neutral, and composed. No emotional outbursts, no over-explaining, no immediate dive back into the old dynamic. A simple, "Hey, good to hear from you. How's everything?" is more than enough. Let them do the heavy lifting. If they genuinely want to reconnect, they'll make the effort. If not, you'll know exactly where they stand, and you'll have the clarity to move on without looking back. When you feel the urge to respond too soon or to fall back into old patterns, ground yourself with this affirmation. I hold the line. Write it in the comments. I hold the line. Let it serve as your anchor whenever you feel tempted to let them back in too easily. Holding the line isn't about punishment or manipulation. It's about maintaining your power and protecting your growth. You've done the work. You've reclaimed your time, your energy, and your sense of self. Don't throw it all away for a moment of relief or fleeting attention. You've shifted the dynamic, and the power is now in your hands. Whether they come back or not, you've already won, because you've learned how to value yourself. And that's a victory no one can take away from you. Hold the line, stay grounded, and let them work for a place in your life. And when they finally come back, if you even decide to let them back, make sure it's on your terms, not theirs. This is your story, and you hold the pen. And folks, this was it for today's video. If this video gave you the clarity you needed, make sure to hit the like button. It really helps push this message out to others who need to hear it. Subscribe if you're ready to reclaim your power, and share this with someone who might be stuck waiting for attention they no longer need. Most importantly, drop the phrase "I hold the line" in the comments. Let the world know that you're standing firm, valuing yourself, and refusing to fall back into old patterns. This is your moment. Take control, stay strong, and let them miss what they lost. You've got this.